Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today is Tuesday in the Big Brother house. No, we're not in the Big Brother house. So today is Tuesday. We are doing an in-depth today. I bring back friend of the show, Norm Farrar. How you doing, Norm?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So while I just share this to the groups, do you want to just share with people what you've been up to in the last few days? And then we're going to get into your in-depth.
Yeah, sure. So in the last few days, I don't know about you, but Amazon's come down hard on all sorts of our clients. Like just yesterday, 2 more listings just got pulled. No reason, no rhyme or reason. They just got suspended. So, and they say it was due to, what was it? I don't know, some agency. But anyways, this is just happening over and over and over again. And it's really getting to be a pain in the butt because you're doing everything correct. Yeah. And then they just pull it, just pull it out from under you. And it's too bad because there's a lot of good sellers out there. And this is, for me, I got to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. I mean, it's great. I learn, it's another door that opens. I learn a little bit more about Amazon, a little bit more about, how they tick. But at the same time, I feel so bad for the people that have this happen. And it's ridiculous. Like, I'll give you a really good example. I've got this client who has this incredible leg wax. It's like, hair remover, all 100% natural. Like it's honey, it's, a scent of lavender, whatever it is. They pull it for pesticides. Wow. How can honey be a pesticide? It's just ridiculous. And I know it's the algorithm, and I know, but anyways, that's mostly what we've been dealing with. But the other side of it, on the communication side and with PR Reach, we've been doing some fantastic things with a new type of press release we've been working with. And we've been working, I know one of our clients is over at Clear Ads, and we've been beating Amazon everywhere. Everywhere with his advertising. In fact,
for ranking for DSP, wasn't it? Yeah. So you're talking about George Moresso, friend of the show. George has been on. Yeah. So he, with his press releases, he's been outranking Amazon for DSP and stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah. So I've got to be careful because there's a few things that have been going on, but Amazon has called him and said, "What are you doing? How are you beating us?" Yeah. And it's through these new type of press releases that we're doing. And actually, I have a slide that I can even show you. We've hit like on Amazon DSP and Amazon advertising where we're just killing it. And this is off of press releases. And that was off of one press release, I believe, that happened. So it wasn't a ton. But anyways, this is something that we're working on. And we're also working on this new brand builder package where it really blasts out traffic everywhere. So it's not only your press release, it's content marketing, it's a small automated podcast, it's slides, it's everything that you need. It's just a blast out there. So Google gets tons of content. And then we've been working on a really cool new CRM for the logistics company. So I got to show it to you one day. I think you'll really love it. But that's kind of what we've been doing.
So it's been a busy week. Let's say some hellos, and then we're going to get you into your interview. So Jimmy says, good morning from Australia. Hi, Danny. Hi, Norm. Good to see you again. Hasing is here. Hello, guys. Herb is here. Hello, guys. Andrew, looking forward to this one. Florin is based in Australia. Good morning, guys. So looking forward to this one. Really love my late quiet nights with the Danny show. And tonight's going to be a real gem, I'm sure. Michelle Venton says, can't wait, a real gentleman and full of knowledge and expertise. Anthony says, excited for this one. Tiff says, thanks to him and my buddy got our first PR release. Thanks, Norm. Awesome. And in the feed, Sharon is here saying hi. Sam is here. Andrew's here. Owen's here as well. Henrietta. Roger is also here. Alicia is here as well. Ricky. Andrew. Yes. Right, so let's get into the show. Norm, so what we normally do, let's take it back, way back. I don't know how far back, but let's go to childhood. Probably black and white TV like me, yeah?
Black and white TV, yep.
Black and white TV, right. So Sharon says, really missed Norman's beard. Nick Katz, hope you're well, mate. He's over in Japan. Hey, Danny, been a while. Facebook user, hello. Henrietta says, good day, Danny and Norman. Another gorgeous day in Vancouver as well. James says, hello from Utah. Right, so let's take it way back to the beginning. Right, let me take it back to your childhood. What was your first entrepreneurial memory?
I think probably the first thing, I mean, really, other than, lemonade stands, a real entrepreneurial was probably back in high school. A group of us got together and we decided to create a rock promotion company. And it was kind of cool because some of these guys have really moved on to be huge. Like one guy's a huge music producer, but back in the day, we actually got a call from Loverboy, and they wanted to know if we wanted to promote their tour in Canada.
Okay, so you was in the music industry.
Yeah.
But were you in the music industry when you're like 7 or 8 years old, or because
no? This is like when I was in. I believe this was my 3rd year of high school.
Okay, so prior to that, were you like Kevin King? Did you have like a sandwich round and you had lemonade carts outside the front of the house when you're like 2.5 years old? Or
I didn't. I more worked with my dad. I remember.
So let's start there, right? So starting with the influence of your parents. So you worked with your dad. What was the business your dad was in?
My dad. I look back. He's still alive. He was a true serial entrepreneur. He probably had 5, 10, 20 companies going all at once. He had some large companies, like he had a pulp and paper company back in Montreal. It was a fiberboard company. He did all the fiberboard for Mercury cars at the time, and he did shoe component parts. He did all sorts of things, but he got into die making, into wood making, into just you name it. It was everything. And one of the things that he always told me was try to do things that nobody else will think of. So what he would do or didn't want to do. So he would create a company about manufacturing the hard parts of the back of your shoe. They're called counters. And so he would produce it for tons of shoe companies across North America at the time, Canada and US. Then he got into, it was wood and furniture and chemicals. I mean, you name it.
Chemicals is in the Summer of Love chemicals, or chemicals?
Yeah. No, more like Breaking Bad. No,
I'm joking.
No.
Yeah. So that was an inspiration to you. So did you look up to your dad at that point? Is there stuff like, when I grow up, I want to be just like him? Because you did, really. You've got multiple companies now, but did you think about it back then?
Absolutely. I mean, even now I look at him and I just I'm always asking him for advice. Like, what do you do here? What do you do here? He is my guy for inspiration. He awesome guy, still very entrepreneurial.
He's still active and running businesses now.
Yeah. He tried to retire, but he couldn't. He got right back into it. And so right now, some people know that we have a company in China, so he's still involved with it. My brother runs it for the most part, but he's 80 plus and still actively involved, very healthy. But I remember going back in the days, and he would basically take me to the shop. So he was a very successful sales guy, and then he put all his money into a small little company, which grew to be multi-million dollar companies. But I'd go to the shop with him, and he would pay me 10 cents an hour and all the pop I could drink. And I would clean up the floors and do whatever. And what this opportunity did, it gave me the opportunity to meet all types of people, from the guys that are temp workers to skilled laborers, like a lot of times, because it was all manufacturing, to the people that would be, the purchasers, even dealing with politics and that's a whole other story. But anyways, got to meet a lot of different people, and it gave me, I think that was just a really great entry point for networking.
Yeah.
The importance of networking and not being afraid to talk to anybody. If I wanted, like, I never had, we would have some pretty serious, especially sports people. My dad was heavily involved with sports. He was a VP, he was a VP of Kitchener Rangers. I come from a sporting background. My uncle was the VP of the Montreal Canadiens. It was never a big thing to have talent in the house, or even meeting really big people, but they were just people. Like our next door neighbor, I don't know if people know Schneider's, but I mean, that was they were the CEO of Schneider's, and Dare Cookies was across the street, or one of the relatives, and it was nothing. And that's how I look right now. Like, people are people, and you don't get nervous. And some people get nervous going and meeting people for the first time, and I don't. It's just something I think that came back from childhood that's helped me out.
Yeah. So we're talking, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You went to the shop, you worked with your dad, you were getting exposure to all these different type of people. Who else had an influence at that young age in your life?
Oh, yeah, I had some really great teachers. So
let's talk about them, like mentors or teachers from school.
Yeah, teachers from school were actually I even invited some teachers to my wedding. So there was teachers that I hadn't seen for years, but they had enough influence on me that they came over to our wedding. And I don't know, mentors. I've had a lot of different, like, I was heavy into sports. So I loved, I love boxing. So Muhammad Ali was definitely one. I'd love Muhammad Ali. I loved Sugar Ray Leonard at the time. I always was for the underdog. So if I saw, like, I remember a guy named, what was his name? Arturo Gotti, right?
Oh, he's a machine, yeah. Because the Arturo Gotti, and what's the 3 wars that he had with the Irish guy, Mickey? They were, like, if you look them up on YouTube, like, in terms of just pure wars, in terms of boxing, he had a trilogy, didn't he, with Mickey someone, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy, I like watching his career come out of Montreal. I mean, he seemed to be
Gatti Ward, wasn't it?
Pardon me?
Mickey Ward.
Gatti.
Gatti Ward, yeah.
But he came out as an under. Now, I mean, it was a tragic end to his life too. But anyways, that guy was incredible. There was, let's see, back then, like, going further in my life, there's lots of different people that.
We'll get that. We'll work on the timeline. So let's get to. So you went through school. I should have mentioned about the school thing. Do you rate education, and did it help you? It seemed like you had school teachers that come to your weddings, which would have said is that you had a high level respect for school, or not?
No. I was the guy I dropped out of school.
Yeah.
I dropped out my last year. I was a class clown, but I was also the person that was kind of against, I remember I had surgery on my stomach, and there was a hall monitor, and the guy just started to come down on me because I was trying to put my books in my locker. I'm sitting there, I'm going, what is going on? Like, I've got an injury. The guy knows I have an injury, but he's got a little bit of power. So now he comes down on me really hard, and we, got into an argument. So I was I wasn't into school, except when I came back. I came back later on, and I think it was about 2 years later. Then I respected school. And then I dug into my books, and then I got onto the honor roll. But it was more fun and games. I was more into sports, more into partying back then.
Yeah.
When I got into college, respected it, very much.
Cool. So let's move it forward a little longer. Can we put a timeline to this? When did you leave school? Round about which year?
80.
1980.
Yeah.
Cool. So 1980, you left school. Effectively, you've gone into the music industry straight away, or did you work towards that?
It didn't last very long. So it was just a bunch of guys getting together. the neighbor across the road had connections all over in the music industry. So we got 4 of us guys together, and we just started trying to sign bands and do rock promotions. It didn't happen. The Loverboy thing was an inquiry. It didn't happen, but it was fun. Relic. Yeah. It was Relic Promotions. I remember going to the lawyer, getting it was incorporated. We had it all set up. Didn't make a penny, but we did it. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, didn't make a penny. Welcome to the music industry.
Yeah.
Takes years to earn any money out of the music game. So that was your first entrepreneurial taste, was it?
Yes.
So before we jump too forward, so you said you went to college. What was college like back then? You said you was partying, etc. Did you put on any events and stuff there, or was it just there for education?
Oh, it was as much partying as it was education. I went through film and cinematography. Okay. And so it was a 3-year program. I dropped out in the last semester, but it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. It was a career path that was interesting because perception is one thing. I started to see what was behind film production, and it wasn't for me. I love sound. My sound guy, like my sound prof, he was trying to recruit me to work with him, but I didn't go that way. But I love editing sound, and I still do. Like I listen, and I know you've got that background as well. But it's just something when you're into sound, you pick up all these little things, and I'm sure sound bugs you. Like right now, I know my mic. I had to use a different mic, and it's probably driving you crazy, But anyways, I love film. I love watching film. We goof around even now, just putting together some stupid short films. Had a blast, and also we partied really hard. And then after that, I went to the military during my second year. It was just the reserves, but that was really cool. I was this kind of don't take crap from anybody, and then I ended up in a little boot camp for.
And you were humbled, right?
Oh my God, I was so humbled. But it was great. Back then, I mean, it was still the days where they just did anything to you. I was in the artillery, and just running around with this 50-pound shell over my head, running I am a dummy. But it was great, and I had a lot of fun there, and I got along with all the NCOs. So even in boot camp, they came, and me and another guy were snuck out of the camp, and we go out to bars, and we'd have a lot of fun. But again, it was networking. I just got to know all my superiors, and we just hung out and had a good time. We worked hard, but we had a good time.
So they were a bit more lenient on you. Whenever you got something wrong, you didn't have to do 100 press-ups.
No, I don't think that. I think they did more.
All right, they made an example of you.
Yes.
All right, so what happened after the army? So we've come out of high school, gone to college, dropped out, doing film.
Yeah.
Goes into the army, gets humbled from time to time, changes you slightly. Where was the next move?
Yeah, so I went back to college to finish up one semester, and then decided, and during that time, opened up a company with a guy at the college called Excel Promotions. And we started to get government contracts for films. We started to get a bunch of different contracts. It actually helped pay for college. And then I decided to make the move and just take off because I had a part-time job with this producer, and he was doing General Motors films. And one of the people from my dad's company worked for them, and they knew that I was in the film industry or trying to go in. She said, "Look, come and be a VA or a PA with this film." So one of the things that I was told from one of my profs was, whenever you're on a set, don't care if you're the lowest paid guy, you go out and get the coffee for the set. It always stuck with me, right? And so I did. So come on, brand new, virgin, here's coffee, gave it to the director, producer. There's only about 5 people, and did it every day. At the end of this one shoot, well, guess who gets hired on to now move up? And it was a small little operation called Petro Films. So I got to be a camera guy on some shoots. I mostly was the assistant. I did some gaffing work. I did everything. And it was all because, hey, look, I gave you coffee. It wasn't maybe just the coffee, but I knew my stuff too, right? But, just did what this prof told me. And I tell people that to this day, like, people try to be, make $100,000 just, coming out of college. Pay your dues a little bit, just give a bit. And I didn't have any money. Like, there was nothing. And you're going into the store every day buying coffee.
Makes sense. And so where did you go from there? If we start working into like the more entrepreneurial stuff that you've done, so you've played the support roles, you've kind of cut your teeth. Where is the first for you, like the real business, where you started to really put it all together?
First business was I had a grandfather clock company. So I manufactured grandfather clocks. I can't swing a hammer. I have no idea, but I know people who can. And so we ended up getting the Bulova clock. We built clocks for Bulova, and we built clocks for some other large companies as well. We were private label. So we'd assemble them, we'd send them out. And that was my first kick at the can. Things were going really well. And then this little thing called free trade came in, where one of my competitors in the States could do the same amount of work in one shift that it took me a month to do. So instantly, overnight, the doors closed. Instantly. It was just done. You wake up the one day and it was gone.
So explain that again, how that broke out. Sorry, because you said the fair trade come in. Your business went because someone could do the work quicker than you, effectively.
Yeah. So we worked with, high quality solid woods, oaks, cherry woods, and
Gotcha.
It was handcrafted. Other companies were either coming in with particle board. They could still be solids, but they had a much bigger, like Herman Miller, for example. They did 2,000 clocks in no time. Well, we would do 20 clocks a day, or
right. So it's down to production. Effectively, they had the manufacturing in place and just wiped you out because you couldn't compete because they could bring their price down a lot lower than yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's all handmade. Yeah.
Compete. And I take a look, and it hit me. Like, it hit me hard. We just bought a house. We just had a kid. We're just about to have a kid, and all of a sudden you wake up and the government just ripped that from you.
Wow. So, what year was this? We went on the 1980 timeline. You left school. What year are we now?
Probably 84, 85, something.
Yes. Yeah. So you're still relatively young, early 20s, right?
Yeah, I was like 23 maybe.
Yeah. So that was your little first foray into the darkest hour just before dawn. So you had this set up, you had a great business, and it was ripped to underneath you. What did you do? What did you learn from that to turn it around or to move to the next stage?
Well, it took years later, but I really did understand that no matter how bad it gets, it's never that bad. You're always going to wake up. And I see that right now with a lot of young entrepreneurs. Small things happen and they just have ulcers over it. And I had ulcers, and I couldn't sleep, and acid reflux. I would be up all night and just sick, not knowing what would happen. My wife was a nurse, and she was making money, but I made nothing. I think I spun into, it was probably a depression. Like, I felt I couldn't do anything.
So I was going to say, it took me to go from lose everything and come back. It took me 6 years to get there. But I think once you learn how to do it, it gets easier each time. It's like, well, you don't want an each time. But so when you shut the clocks company down, did you just go and, like, you lost your confidence? You got effectively a day job, and then you just spent years building back, or what did you do?
No, I never got another day job. I just couldn't work for anybody. What I ended up, actually, I have to say I did. I got into a sales job and to learn promotional incentive, trinkets and trash, and premium incentives. So I got working with this company and did pretty good. And then I decided to go on my own. And I was there for a few months. And then I think that was probably the last day job I ever had. But got into another company. It took a few months. Like before I even got into it, I probably just laid around the house, feeling bad for myself, sorry for myself. And that probably took a few months. And then got in, learned this other job. Like a friend introduced me to a friend. And a few months later, I started another company. And then I teamed up with a buddy of mine, same industry. And we had a very successful company called Angelfish Marketing, which was a premium incentive business. This was full of stress. It was all dated events, waiting for product to come in. And there was tons of learning going on. So do you know, like the promotional market, with, coffee cups and Bic pens and...
No, I don't know. I vaguely know the system of marketing in that sense on bigger companies and product-based marketing, especially from like the music industry, but not specifically the rollout for coffee. Do you want to run through it?
At the time, there were 16,000 trinkets and trash guys out there. So premium incentive sales. Most of the people were mom and pop shops, and most of them made about 23% gross margin and 300,000 in sales. Those were the stats. When we got into it, the first thing we did was, how can we do something different? How can we increase our profit? How can we be bigger than 300,000? And we came up with something that I believe in to this day, and that is perception, perceived value. So we took products, a Bic pen or a T-shirt, we printed it, we put our label in the back, put it in a poly bag, and we had on time, every time, exactly like you ordered it. And we went out to Fortune 500 companies and we told them that this was, this is the new look, this is the new feel, pay a little bit more, but we guarantee that it's going to arrive on time. So we pushed those margins up to about 45%. And within the first few months, we had about 2.5 million in sales. We took over all these catalog companies. We were Nortel, we ran a ton for Nortel. We were in 9 different Nortel offices. We had 20th Century Fox. We had Cadbury, Hudson's Bay. We had tons and tons of people that we were working with. And it started out as, here's mugs and keychains. Then it went to the catalog department, where people would need, it might be a distributor network where a distributor wanted to put their name beside the company, and we would fulfill it for them. So when we got that there, we thought, okay, how else can we control this situation? And we became what I called vertically integrated. So we decided to buy the screen shop, buy the embroidery shop, buy a courier company, buy a fulfillment company, and then we spread out that way. And then over this, it caught the eye of a public company, and they came and bought us up. And then we became the first publicly traded premium incentive company in Canada.
Whoa. So, okay, so let's slow this down, because you just threw in a load of mechanics there. Not only did you go and acquire a load of businesses, you got acquired too. So let's just what period are we in here?
This is 89, 90.
Cool. So 89, 90, you've come off the back of the crash of the other business.
Yeah.
Put yourself back on your feet. Where did you get the money from to buy all these companies? Is it just because you're able to negotiate contracts with people, get paid in advance, or did you raise money from the banks?
No, we were very good negotiators. Like, first of all, to fund, we all knew, and I didn't know how important it was, because a lot of our catalog programs required inventory, so we'd have to float the inventory.
But that's what I was going to say. With all the inventory, you got to float. Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible, and we could have. I mean, there's just other ways of doing it nowadays, but back then we would go to our clients, and they knew. I mean, this is what a great relationship we had. We could go to a company. This happened, Hershey's. So we were doing something with Hershey's, and it was around Halloween. And we didn't have the money to buy the product. So we said, look, like, we're just going to be straight. We're new. And they loved, they loved our whole concept. And so they floated us. They floated us all the money. They paid everything in advance. And so everything. And so we were getting paid while other people were getting paid 60 and 90 days. We were getting paid in some cases up front, which allowed us to help float. Now, one of the really cool things, one of the best business ideas I've ever had in my life happened with Northern Telecom. And I would be flying all over, you know, this little backwoods Canadian guy, you know, doing all this work in the States, and much bigger companies, you know, were out there. And I was in San Jose, and the purchasing department was all in a pissy mood. And I just went over to the person I knew. I said, "What's going on?" I said, "Oh, these non-contracted suppliers are killing us. We can only pay them in 280 days. They're pissed off. They're not getting like, it's their cash flow. They're not getting paid, and they're screaming at us."
They're 280 days.
Yes.
Was that the terms, like net
Yes,
terms?
like it was anywhere from 90, but realistically, it could be 280 days. I'd be pissed. So
well, it takes most businesses out the game, didn't it? Unless you've got some serious cash
and
flow.
especially when you're dealing with big, and that's the thing, like, just because you deal with a large company doesn't mean you're going to be successful. It could put you in the ground.
That is sometimes the worst. I'll give you a quick example. I was involved in a construction business. The big contractors used to play a game called Break the Contractor. I used to have my lawyer on tap just to send out letters so we could get paid, because they would take liberties. Because break the contractor, what that meant was you get people to do all the work, you stretch out their payment terms to eventually they're in such a dire state they can't pay their staff. They're either buy the company or they let the company go and then get someone else to finish the job. They've not paid out for the materials. They've not paid the labor costs. So then what happens is they bring that project in under budget, right? And then they will get a bonus for bringing it under budget because they played a game called Break the Contractor. I always say to be careful when you're dealing with the big companies, the terms. You need to nail those down really fast, you know?
Yeah. And well, I'll go back to the San Jose thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, the VP of purchasing was in San Jose at the time, and we went out to lunch. And so I started talking about what was happening, and you know, there's got to be a better way. Like you can't have people like complaining like this. So they just came out with they just bought the rights to the Beatles' Revolution for their ad campaigns. And so I said to him, "Look, I get paid in 30 days. Like, that's my contract, right? Why don't I become your purchasing department?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "I will handle North America for you. I will take that headache off. I will pay, like, I will take care. You just tell them to call me. I'll pick up all their contracts. I'll pay them. You pay me in 30 days. You put it in my account. I'll charge you 3%, and I get to pay them in 90. So what ended up happening is all of these companies that they were using loved us. We ended up getting, I remember, like, this is the type of relationship I had with the bank and also with Nortel. They needed $250,000 worth of tickets for the Masters. Okay, called the bank and just said, "Hey, I need to have you bridge a loan for me, like just until Monday. I need to buy $250,000 worth of tickets." They'd float me, and then, you know, I'd buy the tickets, I'd get it, you know, I'd buy it for Northern Telecom, they'd pay me, and everything was cool. But the bank was like, I worked some incredible deals with the bank. And the other thing is on the other side of it, like with our,
this is that, I mean, we are going back to the late 80s, early 90s, right? Yeah. Could you imagine today you going in with your glasses and your beard and your tattoos, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, go on, do us a sub, you know, $250,000 just over the weekend. It wouldn't happen, would it? You know,
it's like, it really is unbelievable. And even like, you have to have a really good relationship with a bank. But it was great. I mean, they were very supportive. They saw the company, they believed in the company, and it was a great time. But the other thing that we did is we were rock solid. I went through Michael Gerber's eMyth Academy and got the SOPs going. Our whole company was all SOP driven. We were really a performance-based culture. Like, people came in and they just loved working at the company. And what we were able to do is every tiny penny counted. So we would have a preferred supplier list. If we use you, great. We're going to pay you this. We're going to pay you in 45 days, not 30 days. And we start to just stretch things out a little bit, which gave us a little bit of extra cash flow. And there was lots of things. Like, this is where I learned about when you did get into a cash flow, juggling credit cards and, you know, putting stuff onto credit, as long as you pay it off, and just grabbing the points. And there's lots of little tricks that came with it. But anyways, all things must come to an end. And
so you bought these companies so just to refresh the story for people, you bought up all these companies. You said it's going to come to an end, but did you get the exit? Did you get some legacy money put away or did you sell the remnants of the company?
Yeah, pretty much. It was, and it's a really sad kind of story too. Because
do you mind sharing that with us so people can learn? It's up to you. I won't push you.
No, it's fine. So, like, what had happened just beforehand, Hudson's Bay Company, their premium incentive department wanted to buy the company, and then everything was in place. They were almost to the point, like it was getting to due diligence, and then the head of that department left, and then that deal fell through. So, anyways, what ended up happening was Nortel, I don't know, you probably don't know the story, had collapsed.
Right.
Everything collapsed. We were all over Nortel. I don't want to consider myself a one-legged stool, but I was. Most of our income was coming in through Nortel. So once you're probably looking at a $20 million contract, over with that was over like a 5-year period, and it collapsed. And all of a sudden there was nothing there. Like I just left the skin of my teeth, so that was also something that I went from a really high to a low. And what you're trying to do is you want to make sure, like, you're looking out, there's good people working for you. You want to make sure everybody's taken care of. You feel horrible. Like I remember.
So if you don't mind me asking, I know the guy involved in the acquisition left, right? So the deal come off the table, but you sounded like you had a sound business even before buying. What suddenly went from being a sound business and a possible acquisition to it not being a sound business, for instance?
It happened when we received the word that Nortel was collapsing. And so what happened was we had 23 sales reps, and each sales rep, if they were in the different locations, now they're worried about their bread and butter. So they're leaving. So once the salesmen started to leave, then it trickled down to the staff. And then the staff was worried about their next day. I think if we pulled together, and I was probably a better leader back then, and could rally the troops, might be. We could have survived, and I had no doubt that we could have probably come back up. But at that time, like, just seeing that collapse, it was hard. It was just hard to see everything and then have it, like, you didn't have to worry about money. You could travel anytime. We had systems in place where I was paying people, hey, you work 4 days, we pay you for 5. We want a happy environment. Holidays, incentives, paying for people's holidays. And all of a sudden, everything kind of just went away. And it would have been very hard to kind of do all over again. So, anyway,
so how did you, what was your next steps? You see this coming. You knew this is on your shoulders, right? A lot of people are going to lose jobs and stuff. How did you handle the crisis?
Well, it was really how do you, like, it's like putting the finger in the dike, right? It was about to explode. I knew it was going to explode. I knew at that point, because we were funding all these different things, including inventory, that was the big deal, that we were probably going to have to either go under or declare bankruptcy. And we avoided bankruptcy. And one of the things I was able to do, we had about 70 or 80 suppliers. I called each supplier. I told them exactly what was happening. Some of them were really, they wanted their money, and I had to hold back. I gathered money, and I just told everybody, look, this is what we're doing. These are what our receivables are. It's not good news, but I'm not running from it. You've got my phone number. Call me. And I ended up paying almost 100% of the debt off.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
I know. It sounds tough. So paid everyone back, but do you know what? That sets you in good stead for the rest of your life now. the fact that you can walk forward.
Well, you can definitely, I mean, if you can come through that, and you can still, I can still call the suppliers. I mean, that was the key, because it's all about your name.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you can build, I think they say it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and seconds to lose it. And you chose legacy over money, which I admire. And I think, I mean, I'm digressing from the story now. Do you know what? In this industry that we work in, you're probably the only person that I've never, ever heard a single person ever say a bad word about you. If anything, when your name comes up, people's faces light up. That's the kind of credibility and reputation you have in our industry.
Well, you know what? I've handed out a lot of $20 bills.
You've handed out a lot of $20 bills. All right. So where do you go from here? So this is the second crash, right? So the first one was tough.
Yeah.
We've done the second.
I got one. No. Just before I got
We're just warming up. Oh,
you want to hear something that was horrible?
Let's do this.
So I got in. So just before I got into the premium business, I was recruited by this other company. So just before Angelfish, I get recruited by this other company that, hey, I hear you're a good sales guy, blah, 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 blah. All right. So they recruit me. And what ends up happening is that they bring me in as a partner. I had to give $25,000. They showed me the books. Everything was great. I didn't realize that we went to the bank. We had an operating line of $425,000. I had to sign on to that. I had no idea whatsoever that they had 2 sets of books. So I thought that there was no debt. The bank had come in, and it's hilarious now, but they came in and they said, hey, Norm, this is a joint and several agreement. You owe us $425,000.
Why?
And I was in my mid-20s.
Jesus.
Yeah. So try figuring that one out. And so the other guy, they knew all about, these were experienced, seasoned business guys, right? They knew exactly what they were doing. And there was another guy that was in, he actually came in on Angelfish marketing with me, but I heard about this and I told him, don't put in your money. This is a scam. We got scammed, buddy. And so he got saved. He didn't put in his 25, but I got nailed. And so I had to go. I talked to the bank. I had to work out some stuff with the bank. They could not get a dollar, not a single dollar from these 2 other individuals. Yeah. So just being naive and stupid, it was too good too good to be true. And I walked in on this deal, and that was my introduction to getting kicked in the nuts. Yeah.
Wow. So you've had to do a lot of bounce backs and comebacks here, haven't you? So
yeah.
So this happened just after shutting down the company. You was going to exit. Someone pulls out. Everything around you drops down because of, is it Nova, that chain that went under? You've paid back all this money to all these different people, and then you lay out the 25K. Then you get the advantage taking your view afterwards. But you're in the hole, did you say 475?
Yeah.
And so what happened there in terms, that's a lot to take on, right? For anyone. What happened with that?
Bankrupt.
Yeah. You had to, right? Because you've already just cleaned up the last mess. You got, for a better word of it, you got scammed.
Yeah. It's not something I'm proud of, but there's absolutely nothing I can do. I lost.
There's a difference when you get scammed, and there's a difference with intent, right? So your intent was to clear up the mess that you felt that you created, i.e. you the owner of the business, and nearly everyone got 100% of their money back. Yeah. You'd laid out 25K and got took to school by a couple of people.
400,000.
Yeah. And so that puts you in a different position to paying the 400,000 back when you've stuck in 25 and you've got a net 375 coming back. I can understand why you wouldn't go into bankruptcy, because where are you going to get the money from after just clearing up?
You're too young. You can't do it. And I mean, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. I mean, when we did it, we lost the house, and then I mean, even that, because in Canada, I lost my share. But when we sold the house, there was my wife was entitled to $23,000, but the real estate agent came over and I signed. Right. Well, I didn't realize that the trustee had to sign. And so the trustee came back to my wife and said, look, we're going to press charges.
So you weren't limited by liability. You lost everything. You wiped out your home and everything.
Everything. We started from scratch. Yeah, the cars, everything. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did we go from here then, Norm?
Okay, so let's see. So that one took a bit of time to get over.
Yeah.
But during this time,
what year are we looking at here?
Oh, this is still around. Well, Angelfish, the whole Angelfish ended in the 90s. But during Angelfish, I started to create a online company based on the people that I paid through Nortel. So, those people I was paying and they were really happy.
Yeah.
These guys were coders in India. And so I had an idea about doing a print-on-demand company called Creative Sparks. So we went to India. Hi, Con. So we went to India, and it didn't go. We worked with an agent over there, and this was awesome. So worked out a deal where people's logos could be done, and we were charged $60. So, and they had to turn it around in 24 hours. We had it where you go online, creativesparks.com, and you could buy the package either 48 hours, which was $3,000. You could have it in a week, which was $1,500. You could have it in 3 weeks, which was, I think it was $397. But we got it for $60. And most Americans at the time wanted the 1 week, not so much the $3,000, but they're willing to pay $1,500. And so that was around the mid 90s.
Wow. And so what did that feel at that time after everything that you'd gone through to build that back up? So did that put you, were you able to buy a home again? Was it enough distance between going bankrupt? Because obviously you can't trade on, owner of a business over a certain period for when you're bankrupt. So where did that come into play where you could, was that the business that allowed you to go back to owning the business and you started from scratch? Yeah.
So this goes back to helping pay off all those suppliers. So one guy I paid off, and it was $18,000, right? So it wasn't a lot, but I had to pay him back. It was a bag manufacturer. Anyways, through a friend, a guy called and he said, look, we need X number of bags to be produced. And anybody that can do them? So yeah, I do. So I called the guy and I said, look, I need all these bags. It was $125,000. And, I need these bags. Can you do them? And the guy gave me terms. That's crazy. This is a guy that knows I just I didn't stiff, but I gave him back $18,000. And now he's going to, I think that it was around a $25 or $30 cost of goods, or sorry, $25,000 or $30,000 cost. I made $100,000. So it put me back in the game.
Yeah. But look, but that's the testament. Like when people invest, they don't normally invest in companies, they invest in people. He was basically investing in you because probably 18 grand back there. I don't know how much value it was to him, but he may have written that off, right?
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money, but he may have written it off. But the fact that you decided to pay him back spoke volumes. So he helped you get a foothold back in the game because you paid it forward, you dealt with your karma, and you were able to ride again. So where do we go from here? I'm liking this now because Norm's getting back on his feet. So.
Well, what's really cool, my dad saw what we were doing overseas, what we were doing in China with the other company, and then India. So he decided that, he called me and he said, hey, do you want to get involved with a family business? So we're thinking about getting into some contract manufacturing. So, all right, what are we talking about? my mother came home from Walmart. This is how entrepreneurial my dad is. My mother came home from Walmart with makeup wipes, those little triangle sponges. And she goes, you can make these. And he's looking at them going like, a wedge. Well, he ended up taking that wedge and he found out that wedge is yellow. He hired a chemist to come in and make a non-whitening or a non-yellowing product. Got the machine, started manufacturing it. Then he decided that, hey, it might be better to do this overseas. Well, we went overseas. We got the factory. We owned the factory, started to produce this. And now we ended up going to Walmart's and Eckert's and CVS. We became the #1, like probably 60% market share in this foam business. Well, what led this foam is an EVA type of foam. A wood-handled stamp. They have that little piece of foam in it.
Yeah. On the inside, as it holds the metal or whatever, the wood in place. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to this manufacturer, this company called Rubber Stampede back in the day, and they made wood-handled stamps. They were a large wood-handled stamp manufacturer. So, hey, can you use this EVA? And we saved them like 30%. But then it's like, well, what about the wood-handled stamp? Could we manufacture that? And the guy, our general manager, was an engineer over at Nissan. He rigged up these machines, and we were able to match wood in Asia because they don't have maple to match a maple. We became overnight the largest wood-handled stamp manufacturer in the world because it started off with that little piece of EVA. And that led to all sorts of arts and crafts, which led to, okay, if you've got wood ink or wood-handled stamps, what do you need to go with them? Well, you need an ink pad. So we bought a plastic extrusion company, created the ink pad, and now we were one of the largest ink pad manufacturers in the world. And that just led to tons of business, and like it was crazy because nobody was in China yet. Nobody was really in China. This is all in Taiwan at the time, Taichung. So yeah, that was a great ride when that was happening.
So we mid-90s now. We're up to 95.
Around when all this was happening, we're probably 1999.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So like early beginning to the internet, more people are starting to use it now. So commerce is moving online. A bit. It was limited, and we had dial-up and all sorts. But so where did it go from there then?
From there, well, we got into, and we still own this factory. This one's in China now, but we got into screen cleaning wipes and like just wipes for big screen TVs and glasses and stuff like that. And also counterfeit detection pens, printer cleaning kits. And what was the other? Oh, this is kind of cool. We clean all the slot machines in Vegas and Atlantic City. It's all our cards that you clean. So it's a alcohol wipe that you insert into either a Visa machine or a gambling, or like a slot machine. It cleans it so when you use a card, it doesn't plug up the magnetic fields. So. Okay. That's kind of where that led to, which led to opening up a specialty manufacturing or specialty packaging company, because we had to have units to go into a pack with alcohol, seal it, and then put it into a box. So that kind of just spread out to doing all sorts of specialty packaging. And then that led to a sourcing company, which led to fulfillment.
So basically, way before Amazon, you were years ahead of the game. You were doing all this early doors already, like the manufacturing.
We were early adapters when it came to this stuff. Yeah, like when manufacturing, there was no one really doing anything in China when we were in Taiwan.
No, that makes sense. So where does so moving the story just a bit more forward, where did Amazon come in for you?
I think Amazon, a buddy of mine from the Creative Sparks days, so the print on demand, called and he says, "Hey, have you heard about this AMM?" And he's like, I don't know. I like, what's that? It's an Amazon thing. I had no interest in it. It's just, and it was the beta, I guess, course to ASM, but it was for ebooks, right? And Kindle and stuff like that. So he went and he started to become kind of successful at it. And he came back around ASM 3 or 4 and he said, you got to get into Amazon. Like, come, I got a free ticket. So I went over and I listened. And then I thought, well, this is kind of cool. I got to get into it. I think that everything that I've done comes together. Everything I've done comes together in one piece. Like this, I say it a lot. This is my perfect storm.
Yeah.
But while I was there, I'm hearing this guy who was a doctor, and he was saying, oh, I don't get this. I don't get internet marketing. I don't get Facebook. I just want to, be able to do what I do. I thought this would be a lot easier. He says, if I could only beat, his exact words, if I could only beat the S&P. And I just walked over to him and I said, I'll do that. And I didn't, I can do it. And so that happened. And that started my Amazon managed services company, like off the ground. I mean, it started the day that I was at the ASM meeting, like just kind of plugging away, trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden that event ended up starting a whole other operation for me.
So did you ever, like most people start out as an Amazon seller and then they develop business services around it. So did you ever go in like as quote unquote an Amazon seller, or are you straight off the bat a service-based company, but doing it at scale?
I did go in as a seller right off the bat. I've got a couple of brands and I still have the brands. But what I did was, like, I just saw an opportunity where Amazon was a small piece of what this guy needed. So I knew that you give me X, I'll source a product for you. I'll package the product for you. Hey, I'll do the SOPs for you. I'll build you an exit strategy. I'll get you on Amazon. I just have to figure it out. But yeah, here's your business. I'm going to give you a business. And at the end of the day, sell your business. And I just want a piece of it.
Right. Okay. And what year was this? 2015?
15. Yeah. 14, 15.
Yeah. So tell me what's been going over since 2015. Let's roll that story from there. So you done ASM, you found a new route is a service-based business. Let's carry on the story to present day.
Yeah. So the Amazon managed services has been very good to me. I've brought in what I believe, like the way that I've set up my business is I still believe in integrated, like making sure that it's vertically integrated. So the first part was, making sure that I had really good strategic partners, and then trying to figure out what services I could provide. And if I was going to provide a service, I had to be an expert in it. So if that was copywriting, if that was PPC, it could be anything. It could be on the Facebook side. I mean, now you're looking at chatbots. I had to know about it. I didn't have to be an expert in it, but I had to know experts in it. So first part, if you take a look at it, was Amazon managed services. So you could roll it out. You could do the web development. I think the sites that we create are pretty good. You could do the social media side of it. You can carry that whole business. But I was missing the content piece. And I knew that, like, every product that I was selling worked with press releases. At the time, back in the day, it was incentivized reviews.
Yeah.
Yep, slap me on the wrist. That's what I did.
I think that everyone done that. So yeah.
Yeah. So nowadays, it's with rebates, but it worked. So I was getting my press releases for the most part from a company called PR Reach. Anyways, I was late for a podcast, and Elena Saris said, "Hey, I got a buddy." Went into his studio. He wasn't there. Started doing the podcast. Walked out of the studio, and I looked. It was Jumpfish Media. I went, "Oh, this is PR Reach." I used their service. The guy wanted to sell the business, so that was Rob Burns. So I bought the business then. And what I looked at was I needed to change it from a press release company to a communications company. So we had press releases, we had content, because Google loves content, and then it kind of, all the other services expanded. That was the next piece. And recently, I was really impressed by this sourcing agent that came to me like all sourcing agents and say, hey, I can do this, 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 and this. Okay, I've been in the business a little while. I can do that too. He came and he showed me a few different things. He was working with Alibaba. He was working with them on 3 different platforms. And he had a whole different way. Like he told me, I'll show you 7 hacks that no sourcing agent will tell you. Okay, he came on, like I have a mentoring thing. He came on, he showed, and he impressed me. So I bought into his company and we started this sourcing and logistics. So now the pieces all come together. You need sourcing, you need the plants to be audited, or the factories to be audited. You need the packaging, you need the production, you need Chinese trademarks, you need logistics. That's that company. You need to come over, and if you're an e-commerce business and you need to have brand identity, we can do that. Then it's the whole Amazon managed services or e-commerce managed services, which then follows up with the content marketing. So it's all those 3 pieces put together.
And so where do you see the future lying now? You put the pieces together. What's your roadmap over the next 5 years or so?
There's going to be a shakeup. I remember a time where I could not believe Walmart. How could it be so big? How could, there's no way anybody could come in and compete. And yet, a little bit later, people are competing. Amazon came onto the market and they're killing it. They're not just competing. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's going to be something. There's going to be some form of shakeup, and somebody's going to compete against Amazon. I don't know if that's going to be Walmart. I don't know who that is. It might be somebody that's, we don't even know about right now. Yeah. But I know one thing. I'm not putting all my eggs into Amazon. I think it's a great service. We can do it. It's very hard to work with. Hopefully they work out their glitches. I don't know what's going to happen there. But off Amazon, everything about like just getting your own e-commerce business or getting over to Walmart or doing it on eBay, getting a mixture, and the type of product that you're getting into. Do you want to have a one-off, or do you want to have recurring? Most of the products that I work with, it's recurring revenue. Yeah. So if it's a soap, okay, you need it. If it's a pet snack, you need it. And it's on a 30-day. If it's a supplement, it's 30 days. So that's where I put my time and my money. And like right now, I invest in this other company, and it's in the dog industry as well. No Amazon. It doesn't fit Amazon. It's a very expensive dog product. But within the first year and a half, it hit 10 figures. Or sorry, 10 figures, 8 figures. 10 figures I would love. Yeah. 8 figures. So not on Amazon, all Facebook ads. So can it be, can you do it off of Amazon? Absolutely. The problem with doing it off of Amazon is you've got a captivated audience on Amazon. You've got to create your audience, if you have a Shopify store. But it is very doable. Yeah,
that makes sense. I've already asked this question earlier on because you basically lived it. I always say to people, legacy or money, but I can see you chose legacy.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
How would you like to be remembered?
Oh, I don't know. Just as a good guy. That's it.
I think you nailed that one. That was your in-depth. That was incredible. That was your in-depth, mate. Even here, Adam says, what a great story. Norm, you're a legend. Where else have we got here? Congrats with all that you do today. It's amazing. Cyber, he says, this cat has had so many lives. Great story. Tim Kramer is said, legacy over money. That's solid. Henrietta said, Nortel. Is it Nortel? Yeah, it was enormous company. Yeah. Going back to, Cyber saying here, great philosophy. However bad it gets, it never gets that bad. Nice one, Norm. Alan says, hi, guys. So what do you have in place to protect you? Because you've had what you've been through, especially that second or third time even, will wipe most human beings out the game. What makes you so different that you could bring yourself back?
Well, it comes back to the stress. I know it's never going to be that bad. I also live absolutely within my means. I still do. Like that fear that everything was taken. Now I'm very well protected. So I make sure that, I am covered. Yeah. But cash flow is major. I don't have any debt. I got zero debt.
Yeah.
And that's on purpose. I don't go and buy 10 TVs and 10 cars. Hey, if it's 1 or 2 cars, that's what we need. These people that compare themselves, say, oh, I got 10 TVs, this, that, don't need it. Like,
I think the other thing is as well, is when you, and I've been there, once you hit rock bottom, the only way's up. And so everything in life becomes so much easier because you know where the bottom is. And when you know where the bottom is and you know how to bounce back, you can always get back to where you were. You might not be able to get in front of where you were because you haven't learned that step yet. Yeah. But I mean, you've had more comebacks than Mike Tyson. That is it's an incredible story.
Oh, well, thanks.
So Elchin says, so impressive. Thanks for sharing, Norm. Henrietta says, absolutely great story. Alan says, absolutely amazing. You are one of a kind, Norm. I think we should finish it there. I think that was, well done. Really proud of what you've done. And you can see why people love you, mate.
Well, no, I really appreciate it.
Cool. All right, guys, let's go. I'll be back here 4 p.m. tomorrow BST. Let me give you a quick rundown of the shows for the week, if I can find my sheet. So tomorrow we're going to be covering selling on Amazon in Australia with a round table. And then on Thursday, we're doing off Amazon deep dive into Pinterest. Your buddy Steve Simonson returns with me in the hot seat on Friday as we do Awesomers versus Seller Sessions. On Saturday, we're going to do Women of Amazon in depth with Cara Sayer. And then on Sunday is Mindset Sunday, which is life balance. Right, let's go. Hope everyone is happy. Stay home, be safe, take care of your family. Lots of love. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. BST.